Hey everybody, welcome to the round 15 player ratings video. Pumped to get this one out. After a win, videos are so much better to do after a win, and particularly after a disappointing loss. You know, it's good to bounce back with the good energy in a video. So for those of you who have never seen a player ratings video, welcome to the channel, welcome to the player ratings video. What I like to do is just start the conversation. I'll give players a rating from 1 to 10, 5 being a pass mark and above, and obviously below that is a fail. And basically, I will start the conversation here. You will end the conversation in the comments below. If you feel like any of these ratings are too high or too low, just let me know down below. Put your argument, put your new rating, and then I will make amendments to the spreadsheet that I have here. It was funny, last week I said there weren't going to be too many passes. Everybody got a pass mark today, or better, and that's just what happens when you win games of football. You get rewarded. So if you are returning to the player ratings videos and you've always watched them, welcome, you know the drill. Let's get cracking into it. Lockie Plowman, Wiedering and Adam Saad. Plowman, I thought he was really good. Upon watching the game the second time, I realised how much of the ball he actually won, and I gave him some extra credit for that. I gave him an 8 for his game, and little things like sticking up for Jacob Wiedering and being the first in there to fly the flag, that goes a long way with me. I love little things like that. You know, we've been talking about team spirit, for the majority of the year and how it's been missing, but I thought he did everything he needed to do to be a good teammate. I thought he played pretty well, defended well. I think the back six in general defended very, very well. So I generally gave them a lot of kudos. So I gave Plowman that 8. Wiedering, I thought he was outstanding. I gave him a 9. It would have been a 10, but I wanted to, give him some room for growth, because at the end of the day, Tex did kick a couple. I think he kicked 3 goals, 4, so he had plenty of opportunities. And look, it was a good battle. It was actually a really good battle. The key one for me with Wiedering is 16 marks. Like, he really patrolled that back line. One of his better games, I thought, for the year. And a 9 was justified for me. Adam Saad, he provided the run and spark, but more importantly, we looked for him and looked to get him in better spots. I still think when we do get better as a team, he will not need to run left to right. I think he tries to buy himself some time, because we might not be set up the ground, or we might still not be used to how he plays and how he runs, and hopefully with the synergy of him playing in the side, we get better at that. But yeah, I thought he was really good. I gave him an 8 for his game. He's had he's had the 19 touches. He kicked the goal, which was obviously, you get extra points for that, particularly when you're coming off the half-back flank. So I thought Sadi was great. Next up is Doherty, Jones and Williams. Doc, I gave him a 6. I noticed him there a bit, and then I watched the game again. I didn't think he had, amazing influence on the game. I didn't think he was poor. I just didn't think he was as good as what he can be, and then for that reason I gave him a 6 for his game. Still, he definitely got his job done, but with the way I've seen Sam Doherty play, I know he's got a lot more in him than what he showed against the Crows. So I gave him a 6. Liam Jones, I thought he was pretty good as well. Quite a few people thought he was best on ground. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, he was good, don't get me wrong, but I thought, again, he and Wiedering really patrol that defence. I thought he was really good on the day, just not best on ground. I gave him an 8 for his game. Zach Williams, Balenciaga, I gave him an 8 for his game. It was a big week for Zach, and for all the criticism that he received from mainstream media, from fan media, from all over, even Teague sort of admitted the fact that he's not as fit as what we think we would like him to be, or whatever the quote was. And I always feel with Zach, he's capable. He's not a guy that can't handle the heat. I think he's a strong character. I think one of the reasons why we got him to the club, and why I am excited to have him at the club, is he's got the grunt. He is flashy in the way he goes about it, but he still is a bit of a grunt footballer. That's how I see him anyway. So I think it was great for him. I think it was a good reminder for him what it's like to come and play in Melbourne, and hey, now you're really here. The criticism is there. You played poorly for the Carlton Football Club, and the response is intense. I don't think he gets anywhere near as much of a response if he's still a Giants this year, and he plays that game that he played last week, or whatever the case may be. So I think it's a good experience for him. It's an adjustment, but at the end of the day, it's all about work rate, and I thought the work rate was there. Kicked the goal. Unfortunately, he's been suspended for a week. It's a tough one because I don't mind players spilling their emotions and crossing that line a little bit. I don't mind it, but at the same time, he really needed to back up this performance against Freo this week, and it's just a shame. I'm not going to hold it against him. Is it silly? Yes, it's silly. It's clumsy. It's a bit interesting because I thought Tom Stewart did a very similar thing with Charlie Cameron. That didn't get cited, but what do you do? What can you do? This is the situation that it is. It does deserve a week, in my opinion. It's something that probably shouldn't happen in the game. Can be dangerous, but it's just unlucky. It's just one of those things. About his game, though, I loved his endeavour. I loved his intent. And for that reason, I gave him an 8 for his game. Next up is Walsh, Cripps and Nunes. Walshy gave him a 10. Player of the game. Just keeps going. 38 possessions. Work rate was there. Started on the wing. Went on ball. The switch was made and just finds a way. Just always finds a way to impact games. The work rate allows him to rise to the top come the fourth quarter. And I'm just happy for him. Proud of him. He bounced back from last week. Obviously, he had a below par game for his own standards that he set, which is phenomenal for a third-year player. But yeah, I thought he was fantastic, so I gave him a 10. Cripper, I gave him a 7. I thought it was maybe I'm just saying this because it was a win. I don't know. I just thought it was a real captain's game. Didn't try and do too much. Did the team thing. Saw him putting on quite a few blocks. And then he got rewarded with the goal, which really brought the crowd to its feet. And there was like a 1 minute 44 period in that second quarter where we kicked 4 goals, and it was Cripps and then Williams right after, and Dow, Cripps, Williams, and the place was on its feet. The place was rocking, and he played well. We gave him a 7 for his game. Jack Nunes, I thought it was okay. I thought he did his job. Nothing too special, but that's Jack Nunes for you. 16 touches, 4 tackles, did his thing. I gave him a 6 for his game. Not much more needs to be said, I don't think. Same goes for Ed Curnow. He bounced back relatively from last week. Thought it was pretty poor, but he had 22 touches. Used the ball better. He is a bit of we know Ed Curnow, he bangs it on the boot, he just gets territory, but in the Adelaide game, he didn't have too many of those, poor turnovers with the kicks. So I thought it was okay. I gave him a 6 for his game. And the thing with Ed Curnow that probably needs to be, thought of is he's been taken out of that midfield spot and he's been moved around. So there's going to be an adjustment period for him. Maybe I'm being a little harsh on him, giving him a 6, but that's just how my instinct told me to grade him. Always loved his game, love what he's about. I gave him an 8 for his game, and I really wanted to give him a 9 or a 10. Again, this is all relative to the context of where these players are in the team, their standing. Senior players get graded a little more harshly, I think, because they're senior players and they're well paid and leaders of the football club and all of that. Whereas with Matt Owies, he's just surviving, and he's pretty much locked in a spot in this side, which is phenomenal for him. He's had 17 touches, which I think is a great effort. I don't really expect anything more than 11, 12 touches in any given game. So the fact that his work rate is there to have 17 touches, he's kicked 1 goal, 3. That's probably the only thing that prevented me from giving him a 9 or a 10. So they were gettable goals as well. He's got a beautiful set shot on him. Just didn't work out this game, but he's coming along nicely. I think he right now is the story of the season for us, given where he's come from, what we expected. He was a guy that we didn't really know if he's going to play one game, let alone however many he's played now. And I look at him now and you can't drop him. He's the way he applies himself. Is a testament to his own work ethic and what he's done in the off season and the continuous improvement. I just think he needs all the credit that he gets and he deserves. Eddie Betts, gave him a 7. He had a really, what do we call him, a purple patch in the second quarter. I thought he was lively. The main thing with Eddie is he's kicked his 3 goals. The 9 kicks. He's kicked 3 goals, and for that reason he gets the job done and then some. I gave him a 7, and he's kicked over 20 goals for the season now, or he's at 20. And I think we did a poll pre-season, will he kick 20 or more? I think most people said no. So it's interesting with Eddie. I mean, if he ends up kicking somewhere close to 30 goals, then we start having the conversation about next year. It's going to be a fascinating one to see how that plays out. But I loved his game. Next up is Harry, Jack Martin and Jack Silvani. Harry, look, said this all year with Harry. Even when it's not his day where he's not dominating, he always finds a way to kick his 2. And that is a sign of a guy who's definitely improved. And really, for that reason, I gave him a pass mark. I gave him a 5. He kicked 2 goals, 2. He had 8 kicks, 6 marks. That was it. Obviously provides a target, obviously a focal point for us, important, crashes packs, all of that. But Harry's son, I know he's got more than that to give, especially when he's on a defender. And no offense to Jordan Butts, but I would expect Harry to really dominate that position. So I think what I didn't see from him in the Adelaide game, which I have seen for the majority of this year, is the way he launches at the football. You look at Aaron Norton, for an example. He really launches at the football. I think if Harry can start really launching with force at the footy, that's going to take his game to another level. But look, he's coming along nicely. He's kicked his 2. That's the main thing. We just, definitely expect more from him now, because I think he's better than what he has been in the past. So I gave him a pass mark. He had did his job, and we move on. Jack Martin, I gave him a 6. He was another one very similar to Zach Williams, coming off a really poor performance by his own standards, and he's had the 13 touches, which, okay, it's not a lot, but at the end of the day, he's kicked 2 goals, 2, and really probably should have been 3. There was one definitely that he should have kicked. You could argue that he should have kicked all 4 of them, but the fact that he's hit the scoreboard, I think, gives him some extra points there. So I gave him a 6 for his game. Would love to see him win more of the ball, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. I know he's playing with a hindrance. I know that the PCL from early in the year has got him a little behind the 8 ball, but at the same time, once you take the field, you get the criticism when you don't perform, and then today you get the praise when you do perform. And I thought he did perform, so for that reason I gave him a 6. Jack Silvani, this was an interesting one. So my housemate, big Jack Silvani fan, probably the biggest Jack Silvani fan going around, and he said to me on Sunday night, like, what are you going to give Jack? I'm like, I think I'm going to give him a 4. I don't think he did his job. I don't think it was a pass mark. And he's like, nah, you can't. He's a body, played in the ruck, and I don't know, maybe I have to take that into account. He's playing in the ruck, which I know for a fact is a very difficult position to play, particularly when you've never played it. So I don't know. Do I give him a pass mark because he played in the ruck and gave us a chop out? I don't know. I'll put it as a 5, and then I'll let you guys in the comments make any adjustment to that if you deem it to be necessary. So that's what I thought about Jack. But look, it was good to see that he was able to provide something for us in the middle of the ground and give a chop out. Now that is important. So we'll see what you think about that. Next up is De Koning, Dow, and Kennedy. De Koning, I'm pretty sure that was his first game rucking solo. And if it was, I mean, it's quite fascinating when you think about where he's come from and, the injuries that he's had over the last few years and the development, and we've sort of all been waiting. And look, I don't think he dominated the game. I think he did his job. I gave him a 6. But it's exciting when you sort of take a step back and you realise, wow, Tommy's... I know it's through injury, but it was like, wow, Tom rucked solo. Like, that's, it's an important step in his journey. And, I think that needs to be thought of, and we're going to need to be a little patient. We're going to need to be patient with him. Not a little, a lot. I don't think he's ready to dominate games for 4 quarters just yet, but it's good to see that he's in a position now where he can play in the ruck solo and we can get through the game and not have to really worry about, oh God, Tommy wasn't really up to it today. So I thought he was definitely up to the task. He'll get better. He'll mark the ball a little bit more around the ground, and he'll get more comfortable within his own body. He's still got a lot more size to put on, I think. And I gave him a 6 for his game. Paddy Dow, this one made me smile. When I watched the game back again, and you see him kick his goal, he was a little reserved, a little subdued, and then he went back for it, and he gave Cripps a little bit of a G up, and it's exciting. I want Paddy to be confident. I think we all do. It was arguably his best game for the club. I thought he looked really comfortable in the clinches with that sidestep, getting the handball out. I think that was the thing. And the thing was, his kicking was pretty good as well. I didn't think his kicking let him down. This notion of Carlton needing to use more handballs was flagged very early in the year with Pommy. And Dow is one of the main beneficiaries to that notion of we should handball a little bit more in traffic. And he's good in traffic, Dow. He'll get better. I hope that this is just the start of something for him. I would love for him to get a good, month, 5 week, 6 week block where he, gets his 20 touches and kicks a goal every second week and, finds the confidence, finds the form and finds the ability to feel comfortable at the level. So happy for him, proud of him. I don't want to get too overexcited. I hope it's not just one game. I hope it's, the start of something. And I gave him an 8. Kennedy, I gave him a 7. He's a goer. He got the first possession of the game. Classic Matt Kennedy type kick. Just banged it on the boot. Went as high as it possibly could, and it didn't really get far. But look, the guy goes. The guy is a competitor. 24 touches. He went at 54%. But look, the endeavour and the effort, it was there. And so for that reason, I gave him a 7 for his game. The bench, Murph, Samo, Fogarty and Stocker with Newman as the sub. Murph, obviously can't grade him, got injured. It was a low-grade calf strain, which at 33 years old is not great. The beauty with this is that I don't think he's done a calf before. He hasn't really had too many soft tissue injuries. A lot of his injuries have been through collision. And so I really want to see him get to 300. I think what he's done for the club, and you got to think about it. The guy is he's given us service from 2006 onwards. He was drafted in 2005, and he's been a great, servant to the club. And it would be a shame if this was his last game. I don't think it will be, but it would be a real shame if that's how it went, how it ended. And I don't care if you're a Murphy lover or a Murphy hater. I think we can all agree that to have your career potentially end just like that, after 290 plus games, would be pretty poor. So I'm not going to grade him, and I've got my fingers crossed for him. Samo, oh my God, what a relief. It's good to see him in his natural position. It was good to see Teague mention it before the game. We are now, as fans, aware of what the mentality was. They evidently were trying to turn him into an Andrew McLeod type. Make of that what you will. I thought that was fascinating to hear, but oh dear. Look, I guess it comes from a space of faith in Samo. So I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about that. At the end of the day, he looked comfortable. I thought he faded away in the second half. I will say that. I thought he faded away a little bit. Maybe it's just part of adapting back to the position. But his first half, I thought it was exciting. The spot-up kick, I think it was 5 minutes 30 to go in the second. Inside 50, it was just like, where has this been? This is exactly what we need. And, it's interesting. I just spoke about Murphy, and I've said this a few times. Samo, for me, if we're going to be playing Murphy in this half-forward mid-role, that's Sam Petrevski-Seaton's role for me. That's how I see it. And I'm a big Murphy lover, as you all know, but I think Samo needs to have that role. I think when Fisher eventually comes back in the side, we now have a situation where Always is locked down this small forward spot. So maybe Fisher can go to the wing, but I guess I'm thinking a little too far ahead. But anyway, Samo was good. I gave him a 6 for his game because he faded out. I would love to see him kick a goal. I think once he kicks a goal, gets that energy and that spirit, and I hope the players get around him for it, I think that'll ignite something within him and the confidence will come back. So that's how I saw his game. Fogarty, I gave him a pass mark at the 14 touches. He had a couple of shots on goal. We really should have nailed that one in the fourth. And but for those 2 misses, he probably would have been graded a 6, maybe even a 7. But he was okay. Gave him a pass mark. Stocks, love what he does, this kid. I gave him a 6 for his game. That might be a little too harsh. I might need to up that. I don't know. He's 17 touches. I'm absolutely upping that. He's getting a 7. The fuck are you talking about, Tez, mate? He's getting a 7. He flies the flag. He kicks the ball beautifully. He accepts the challenge. We might not like watching him play in the back line, but at the end of the day, you do have to do what the team requires of you, and he's doing that. He's accepting the challenge, and he's really, and he's really growing with it, I think. So happy for him, proud of him, and just, stoked to see him playing regular football. So it's a 7. Newman, he came on as a sub. I can't speak highly enough of Nick Newman's game. I was really impressed with that. I spoke about it on the show on Monday night, and when you start as the sub, like mentally, I would think you're never going to be as prepared as what the 22 are that are actually starting on the ground. And so just within that, you're just that little bit off. But the way that he was prepared, the way he came on, the way he impacted, the way he attacked the man, the ball, everything, I full credit. I gave him an 8 for his game, and that's, for me, that's high performance, staying ready. staying ready to do a job at the highest level when you are called upon. And he was called upon early, did his thing, and good on him. Proud of him, happy for him, and he played well. Gave him an 8. So those are the player ratings. It was a win. It wasn't a fantastic win, but it was a win, nevertheless, and a much-needed win. I hope it becomes 2 wins, and then 3, and then 4 in a row, because that's what I really think this club needs, these fans need, and we'll see how it all plays out. So let me know in the comments what you thought about the ratings. Again, I will make any changes. These are not right, they're not wrong, they're just a conversation starter, and then we'll go from there. Stay safe, and go the Mighty Blues.